Start. A little known fact about me is that I actually studied sociology for quite a few years. I was studying to become a philosopher and a psychologist, and then I ultimately dropped that because it's almost impossible to get anywhere in those fields of study without actually going to college, and college is expensive, and I'm a fat early 30s comedian on the internet. That being said, one of the more confusing things that's always struck me over my time of studying and also growing up is patriotism. The idea that you have to be exceedingly loyal to a place just because you happen to fall out of someone's vagina in that place has just always been a strange act to me. This is especially weird when it comes to things like sports, like football. People will actively root for their team just because that's the team that plays for the state that they're from, even when they go to other states. People from different states will have downright fistfights over whose team is better, when in reality, all of the players on said team aren't even from that state most of the time. You would think, or at least I would think, that you would have some sort of loyalty to the team that has your favorite players or your favorite coach or your favorite strategies, not the one that just so happens to share a flag with your state of living or birth. And that brings me to the concept of tribalism. Now, tribalism within video games is something that is not new or even unique to Dead by Daylight. Tribalism is very similar to patriotism, except you actively choose your side. In a game like Overwatch, for example, there's huge tribalism with each of the roles, tank, DPS, and support, and each of those roles hate the other two roles almost completely vehemently. Supports hate DPS and tanks hate DPSs and supports, and DPSs hate DPSs, tanks, and supports. DPSs are the Scots of Overwatch. In any case, a lot of this weird tribalism comes from the fact that people will only play one role, and so every negative thing that happens to that role is some sort of slight against them personally by Blizzard, and everything that benefits that role just isn't enough and it needs more. This same thing, of course, transfers over to Dead by Daylight, and I've talked about this slightly in the past, where people have this really weird concept that behavior sides with one role or the other. Every time something happens to Nerf Killer or Nerf Survivor, an absolute onslaught of people belonging to the role that received the nerf, no matter how minor it is, will come out in throngs to tell you how much behavior hates their chosen role. And it's actually really interesting to watch sometimes, because these people, behavior somehow, in the eyes of the community, behavior is simultaneously killer / survivor mains, depending on who you talk to, and simultaneously hates both killer and survivor and wants to see it fail. And it's just really, really odd. Like, the more you watch, the more you start to kind of learn how this community views any changes that happen in the game. And God forbid a buff of any sort happen to either side. If killers get buffed in some way, survivors come out in tidal waves to proclaim loudly to the heavens how killers are just getting way too many buffs, and killer is so fucking easy now, and if you just want to win games, all you got to do is just load up killer and you just win for free by loading into the match. And then if a survivor gets buffed, all the killer mains come out and go, oh my god, I haven't been able to get a single kill since 2017. Why do they keep buffing survivor? Meh. And it's just whining after whining after whining. Another way tribalism shows up, and this is really fun if you're a content creator like me, is actually, this is really fun. You don't even have to be a content creator. I just want you to do an experiment for me. Pick a subject, right? Pick any kind of thing that you want to see changed, but make sure it's only to be changed for either killer or survivor. That's all I want you to do. And I want you to make a short, like 3-minute video on it saying you want this change to happen. And depending on how that change positively or negatively affects killer or survivor, watch the comments roll in of people of the opposite side telling you how much you're a whiny, entitled blank main. And people of the same side, if it negatively impacts their side, telling you you're a whiny, entitled blank main. It happens every other video. If I suggest a buff to survivors or a nerf to killers, every single killer main comes in the comment section. You're just a whiny little entitled survivor main. You just want every single game to be won. You don't want the killer to have fun at all. And then as soon as I suggest a buff to killers or a nerf to survivors, every fucking survivor main comes in and is like, you're just a whiny entitled killer main. You suck. You want all the survivors to die and not have fun. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to sit back and watch this unfurl. But the absolute worst part of the tribalism is how people will excuse bad behaviors of their side and condemn behaviors that aren't even really that bad of the other side. So what I mean by this is survivor mains will fall over themselves to excuse highly oppressive perks, to excuse BMing left and right, to excuse people fucking bringing flip-flop boil over power struggle whatever up to the top ropes of Eerie of Cox or to Ormond or whatever, so that they can never be hooked, and that's all they want to do. They will sit there and defend to the ends of the earth bully flashlight squads and bully head-on squads and shit like that. But anytime the killer dares do anything like slug for 2.5 seconds, all of a sudden it's like, these stupid fucking toxic killer mains, I can't stand it, bro, they're so fucking shit, why do they have to play the game? Or God forbid a killer pick somebody like Knight or Skull Merchant or something like that. Holy fucking shit. People lose their ever-loving minds, bro. I talked about this in my video. I think I released the video on Monday. I lose track sometimes. But I talked about this in a video this week, actually, about a person that I had who saw the Knight, immediately gave up, and then waited 10 plus minutes to type to the Knight how boring they are. Like, that is insane to me. That is actually, I still can't get over that. But then on the killer side, you have killers who will justify fucking 4-man bleedouts and that cringe ass humping shit and tunneling a survivor out at 5 gens for no reason other than, whatever. And then as soon as they see a survivor pallet stun and then immediately blind so that they can disorient, now all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, they clicked the flash, they shined a flashlight at me, bro. What the fuck? It's so fucking bullshit. Fucking survivor, all survivors need to be fucking nerfed. And then the tribalism goes even further, where it leads into, do you guys remember that a long time ago when I did a video and I mentioned how people within the community really, really, really want free wins, and if you don't play to give them free wins, they get really fucking pissed off, and they accuse you of being toxic and terrible? That's also what tribalism does. Because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, tribalism is the result of people picking one side and playing either only that side or the majority, right? I'm talking like an 80-20 split at maximum. But most of the time it's like, oh, I play one killer game every 2 weeks. But I still think I should be able to talk on what happens on the killer side of things. And it's one of those things where it's just like, it is the tribalism, the rampant tribalism that is causing these problems. And I don't really know how else to put it, because what happens is people lack perspective. They lack perspective of what goes on the other side. This tribalism goes even further, actually, of people assuming to know what is happening on the POV of the other side without ever having experience of that side, right? Like, I can't tell you the number of times I was accused of tunneling somebody, like intentionally hard tunneling someone, when that wasn't what happened at all. That person just got unlucky. It fucking happens. But because these people have never played killer before, they don't actively know how to think to themselves, was the killer hard tunneling? Or did I not look at the entire gap of shit that was happening, or where that survivor went down, to realize that the survivor was just playing badly and got caught out? And then, like, you'll have killers who'll be like, oh my god, I can't understand why this survivor keeps, like, flashlight blinding me all the time. And they don't understand that the reason the survivor's flashlight blinding you all the time is because they have a fucking quest to blind you 30 times in one match, because behavior archive challenges are shit. I'll talk about that another day. The point is that tribalism negatively affects the health of the game. And I'm not the first person to talk about the rampant tribalism within Dead by Daylight. I won't be the last, but it's something that I really wish people would learn how to take a step back and understand for themselves. But as always, I don't make these videos just to spout my opinions at you guys. I make these videos so I can hear your thoughts too. So please let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And as always, please give a special thank you to my channel members, Nuclear Bomb, Cat Lover, and Spirit Upgrades for their additional support. I really appreciate you guys. If you want to find out how to become a channel member, click that join button down below so you can do things like see videos early. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next one.